Son, brother, father, officer. 23 years ago, Kevin Brame was shot and killed. His family is desperately seeking answers. November 1st, 1999, off-duty police officer Kevin Brame just dropped his sons off at the home he once shared with his estranged wife, Carla. Kevin was walking to his car parked in the driveway when he was ambushed. A killer who had been lurking in the shadows stepped out from the bushes surrounding the home and fired a single shot into the back of Kevin's neck. Kevin was armed that night, but he had no warning, no chance to defend himself. He crumpled to the ground. He lay face down on the asphalt driveway. Just moments before, he was full of joy, looking forward to a new chapter in his life. And then in a flash, Kevin Brame's life was brutally taken. Was Kevin's murder a crime of passion, revenge? Or was Kevin simply worth more dead than he was alive? For 23 years, authorities have been searching to find the answer. Today, we will investigate the murder of Officer Kevin Brame. We'll search for a possible motive and see who may have committed this horrific crime. Kevin was just 31 when he was gunned down. The Dayton, Ohio police officer was a 6-year veteran and the son of retired Dayton detective Gerald Brame. Kevin was an outgoing, personable young man with a wide circle of friends. He was a devoted father and coached his son's soccer and baseball teams. Prior to becoming a police officer, Kevin served in the U.S. Air Force Reserves and worked as a security guard before graduating from the police academy in 1993. Just after 6 years of marriage to his wife Carla, their relationship began to fall apart. The two battled back and forth about custody and visitation of their 2 sons. Even though Kevin's marriage to Carla was coming to an end, he was looking forward to starting over. He had recently rented a home just 2 miles south of the home that he had shared with Carla, so he could remain close to his kids. Kevin and his mother spent the Saturday before his murder furnishing it. Rosemary Brame said, "Kevin was full of hopes and plans. He was just on top of the world." The day Kevin was murdered, he received an unexpected call from Carla. Carla told Kevin that the boys wanted to see him. After things had been so strained between the two of them, Kevin was elated that she was going to allow him to spend time with his sons. In fact, he was so happy he called his mother and told her the good news. Rosemary remembered the call and hearing the children's voices in the background. In the hours leading up to his death, Kevin took his sons to their favorite restaurant, Roosters, and then shopping to buy them a new video game. Before taking the boys home, he stopped at his mother's. Kevin's parents were divorced but remained close. So close that Rosemary was celebrating Gerald's 59th birthday at her home, and Kevin stopped to spend time with him. Gerald said, "It was a blessing from God that I did get to see him." Rosemary stated that Kevin started rounding the kids up at about 8:25 p.m. It was a school night, so he was in a rush to get them back home. Kevin returned the boys to Carla and quickly went into the house to hook up their new video game. Just a few minutes before 9 p.m., he was walking back to his car when he was shot. Neighbors gave the following statements. "After I heard the one shot, I looked in that direction out my window and didn't see anything. I didn't hear tires squealing. No fight, nothing. Another neighbor 2 doors down from the Brame residence said, I didn't hear no screaming or crying, and my window was open. 2 911 calls came in, one from a neighbor and one from Carla Brame. 2 minutes before Carla's call came in, a man called at 8:58 p.m. from the 2300 block of Alpine Way. He said that his daughter had heard a single gunshot. At 9 p.m., Carla's 911 call came in. Composed when she called, Carla stated, My husband is a Dayton cop. He just went outside and I thought I heard a gunshot. My neighbor just ran over here and my husband is outside on the ground. Carla's calm demeanor changed dramatically and she started screaming repeatedly, Oh my God, after the dispatcher told her that help was coming and she should stay on the line. Carla asked the dispatcher if she should go outside. The dispatcher said no, and then Carla asked if she could look out the window. Carla said that she saw what looked like her husband's white gym shoes. When asked about the gunshot, Carla said, I heard something, but I didn't know what it was. It sounded like a backfire. Brame then gave the phone over to a neighbor. The neighbor reported that the 2 Brame children were in bed. He said he saw nothing, but did hear the shot. I was in my house, in my room, and all of a sudden I just heard this real loud shot. I came over here and I seen him laying down. Sirens, flashing lights, officers rushing to the scene in disbelief. Kevin's lifeless body lay face down on the asphalt. They quickly secured the scene with yellow tape. Emotions were running high. Kevin was one of their own. The press seized upon the home at 624 Cherry Drive, demanding to know the details of the crime. Officers ignored the questions and quietly began their investigation. Carla notified Rosemary Brame of the shooting. Rosemary collapsed on the floor. Why? Why would someone take her son's life? The next day, at a scheduled press conference, Chief Ronald Lowe broke down several times while stating a few details of Kevin's murder. With his voice breaking as he spoke, he declared, Last night was a very, very sad, very, very emotional time for all of us. Officer Kevin Brame was the son of retired Dayton detective Gerald Brame. We will not stop until we find the person or persons responsible for this horrific act. From the moment authorities arrived at the scene of Kevin's murder, they have never stopped looking for his assailant. They interviewed anyone and everyone connected to Kevin. They followed up on every lead and offered rewards for information. But as time ticked away, Kevin's case became colder and colder. To really understand what happened to Kevin and who may be responsible for his death, let's take a look at what was going on in Kevin's life as we search for a possible motive. Kevin's personnel file turned up a few interesting details. In 1996 and 1998, Kevin received 2 written commendations for helping arrest car theft suspects. A third was issued February of 1999 that stated Kevin worked with a team of officers to reduce drug violence in the area of Otterbein Ave and Kings Mill Court. It's possible that Kevin's murder may have been work-related, an act of deadly revenge. Police were never able to discount that possibility. Kevin's file also contained 3 reprimands and a 45-day suspension issued for making a traffic stop. Earlier that year, he stopped one of his wife's co-workers outside his jurisdiction for personal reasons. We know that Kevin and Carla were having marital problems, but to what extent, and did their problems involve another party? Rosemary Brame said, "This was not a crime of passion. This was an assassination. It was planned." Still, a crime of passion cannot be totally eliminated as a motive in Kevin's murder. Kevin had a $50,000 accident policy obtained February 1st of 1996, a $100,000 life insurance policy obtained July 2nd of 1998, and a $90,000 life and accident policy obtained through Carla Brame's employer. Was Kevin murdered simply because he was worth more dead than he was alive? Greed ranks at number 3 in the top 10 reasons people commit murder. As the investigation into Kevin's murder intensified, everyone involved was reaching their boiling point. Relationships were broken, and suspicions were deepening. 2 months after her son's death, Rosemary Brame sued her daughter-in-law, Carla. She sought court-ordered visitation with her grandsons. Visits with the boys had diminished considerably after her son's death. Rosemary told Judge Nick Kuntz, "I would like to maintain the kind of relationship we had when their father was living. The boys loved me, and I loved them." Carla Brame told the judge that she kept her children away from their grandmother because the Brame family said unkind things about her, and she didn't want her sons to come in contact with a woman that Kevin had a relationship with before he was murdered. Judge Kuntz allowed Rosemary to visit her grandsons monthly in Texas. Not long after Kevin's murder, Carla moved there to take a job with General Motors. Carla also filed her own lawsuits against then Police Chief Ronald Lowe and the Dayton postmaster. She claimed that they interfered with her mail and with her attempts to obtain an insurance settlement in her husband's death. She also sued 3 insurance companies that had declined to pay her insurance proceeds. The lawsuit filed by James Green charged that insurers couldn't process Carla's claims on her husband's life insurance because they had not received completed toxicology and autopsy reports from the investigation. Detectives refused to release information because their investigation was ongoing, and the reports were exempt from Ohio's public records. Carla was informed that mail going to her current residence was being pulled and logged at the request of Dayton police detectives. Carla's attorney asked that the detectives be removed from the case, and the postmaster barred from logging Carla's mail. Carla eventually settled with the insurance companies after suing for breach of contract and financial hardship. Carla received Kevin's life insurance payout. Rosemary Brame was granted visitation with her grandsons. Investigators continued their search, but the cold reality remained that Kevin's life had been taken, and no one was being held accountable. There was no justice for Kevin. After a 23-year investigation, there have only been 2 notable details tucked away in the case files of Officer Kevin Brame. The first major detail is that Carla Brame and her attorney hired their own polygraph examiner, J.D. Caudill. Carla then passed that test, and the following statement was made. In the lie detector test, Carla Brame said she didn't murder Kevin, nor did she scheme with anyone to have Kevin murdered. Carla said she didn't know for sure who murdered Kevin. "It's my opinion she is being truthful," Examiner J.D. Caudill wrote in a letter presented during a deposition to detectives investigating Brame's murder. The second important detail was that Dayton police seized property and questioned C.D. McCoy, a retired auto worker who was a co-worker of Carla Brame at Delphi Chassis Systems in Ohio. Police grilled McCoy about witnesses that accused him of bragging and boasting about killing Kevin in exchange for $2,000. McCoy also was rumored to have had an affair with Carla. His response to the damaging claims: I'm not worried about nothing, because I don't know nothing and I ain't did nothing. McCoy was never charged and died in 2012. Son, brother, father. That was Officer Kevin Brame. He was ambushed on November 1st, 1999. A single shot to the back of his neck ended his life. Kevin should be here, patrolling our streets, keeping us safe. Kevin should be enjoying his life with his children and family. Instead, the person responsible for his murder walks free. That person walks amongst us. If you have any information about the slaying of Officer Kevin Brame, please call the Dayton Police Department at 937-333-2677. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your continued support and encouragement as we continue to grow this community. Please remember to share this video with a friend and to comment on your thoughts and feelings about Kevin Brame's murder. Until we see you again with another cold case, stay well and be safe. This has been Eye on Justice.